Hey, basketball fans. Tommy Birch, Chad Leistikow, Andrew Logue. We're here to discuss the Big Four Classic basketball event at Wells Fargo Arena this Saturday. First game, Iowa-Drake. I cover the Hawkeyes. Andrew covers the MVC. Second game, UNI, Iowa State. Tommy covers the Cyclones, so a lot to get to today. First off, the event is a sellout, 15,000 plus. Andrew, I'll start with you. Do you like the Big Four Classic?
Yeah, I do. I think that the college basketball always has a snowball effect. Our interest gains in March. I like the fact that it gives you something to look forward to. When you get that schedule, you go, what are the marquee games? And you get a few with the Big 12 SEC Challenge, Big 10 ACC. This is in-state, though. This involves all four schools. I would even say if you could somehow do it like sometimes they do in Kansas City Sprint Center, where you have a doubleheader night, where you have two teams play, then flip it around the next night, make it even more of a weekend event.
Sure. Devil's advocate, Tommy. I don't think you're as big of a fan, maybe.
I like the idea of the Big Four Classic, but when you have teams like Iowa State and Iowa coming into Drake and UNI, and when they even lose those games, those atmospheres, the excitement that is in the crowd that night, it's hard to duplicate that, and you definitely don't get it at the Big Four Classic.
Yeah, you won't see Iowa or Iowa State playing in the Knapp Center or the McLeod Center anymore, I don't think.
No,
this is going to go away.
I don't think so. And with Troy Damon leaving Northern Iowa and an advocate and alum of the Panthers,
yeah.
I think those days are gone. Unfortunately, because I agree with Tommy, the atmosphere, and I think it helped the teams in the long run to go into kind of a bandbox or a smaller gym, hostile arena. I thought it was a great training ground for what you might meet later in the season. But yeah, I'm afraid those days are gone.
Well, first game, Iowa-Drake, 3:30. It's an ESPN 3 game, so if you don't have tickets, you're going to have to stream this one online. Andrew, I'll start with you on this matchup. We talk about Wells Fargo Arena. Talk about two West Des Moines Valley guys going at it that have played on this floor. Peter Jock for Iowa, Cale Abrahamson for Drake. That matchup intrigues me because Abrahamson can light it up.
He could. He scored 41 points, but I've also covered a game where he scored 3, hit one shot just before halftime. A little bit streaky. He's going to have to work to get his own shot a little bit more. And I think also it's important for Drake to get all the guys involved. Reed Timmer's averaging 19 points a game. He didn't look scared at last year's Big Four Classic. I think Drake needs to get more things involved, and I think that may start with getting their big men involved under the basket, getting them to have success in the paint early.
Of course, the big story for Iowa is 9 days as of Saturday removed from the heartbreaking loss at Ames. Completely blew that game, gave up a 9-0 run to finish in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. They're kind of angry. They've been shooting alone in the gym for a while. I think there's a lot of frustration. They want to get back on the floor. Iowa 7-3, ranked 23rd in the RPI, has had a strong schedule. Drake 4-6, a lot better than they were last year at this time. 1-8 in the Big Four Classic. Does Drake have a chance to hang with Iowa?
I think they have a chance to hang if they can get Jacob Invel-Jensen and his tag team partner. They rotate usually in off the bench, Dominik Olenicek. I think if you can get those two 7-footers involved and balance it out, yes, I think Drake can hang with them, because now all of a sudden you have Reed Timmer and you have C.J. Rivers and you have some guys on the perimeter who can do something. If those guys struggle, and Dominik has looked brilliant, he looks all world at times, at other times as a freshman, a little timid. If you can do that and let Cale Abrahamson get his shot, you could have quite a matchup with Jock and two Valley kids going down at crunch time.
Yeah, right. They'll have to just keep Abrahamson from shooting, basically, because that's where he's
close off. Yeah,
exactly. But Iowa certainly needs this game. They can get to 9-3 with this win, and Tennessee Tech to get to the non-conference. I think it's probably a game Iowa should win. But Adam Woodbury, I talked to him yesterday, said this is one of the toughest front lines they're going to face all year, except for maybe Purdue. A lot of big guys in there, so a good challenge for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Iowa should be in control. If they're not up double digits in the last 5 minutes, though, I think Drake absolutely has guys, starting with Reed Timmer and Cale Abrahamson, who could really make it tough on them in the stretch. Iowa better build that lead early. Better have control of that game going in the last 5 minutes to not give it a chance to unravel again in the last couple minutes. Deja vu.
Yeah, and Iowa looked terrible in the Big Four Classic last year. Lost to UNI 56-44. Probably the worst game of the season for Iowa. So let's transition now to you guys talking about Iowa State UNI, the matchup everyone wanted to see last year.
Yeah.
Tommy, we'll start with you. Iowa State, I don't want to say escaped, but they kind of escaped against Iowa, down 20 in the second half.
They certainly got some help.
And then they didn't look that great against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now you add into the fact, Naz Long, I'm not going to say his full name. Don't have to anymore. He's not playing. He's out for the year, hip injuries. So what totally different dynamic for Iowa State right now.
Totally, and the good news for Iowa State fans is Matt Thomas, the guy who takes over that starting spot for good, filled in for him in the Arkansas Pine Bluff game. He's playing perhaps his best basketball ever. His shot's going, he's playing great defense, something he worked on in the offseason. He's grabbing rebounds, but the thing is, that bench, he was a big spark off that bench. Now he's got to give them that spark in the starting lineup, so that's going to be a big change for Iowa State right away.
One other big storyline. Last year we watched Jameel McKay's every step, I think, in Wells Fargo Arena because that was his first game after transferring. Iowa State gets another transfer unleashed on Saturday.
Deontay Burton is going to make his debut, and Iowa State fans are probably just as excited for this guy. He tore it up during the Cap City League. He was a human highlight reel, just destroying the back of hoops, with massive dunks. They're expecting big things for him, but I think Steve Prohm kind of cautioned people to let him know there's going to be some rust. It's going to take him some time to get acclimated, and just it's going to take some time. Patience, people.
Sure. Andrew, you cover the Panthers. Now they're off to a 6-3 start.
6-3 start.
Beat North Carolina, so they're returning NCAA tournament team. Not the same personnel,
no,
but a lot of Iowa kids on this team. I think they really want this game.
Oh, absolutely. I think is certainly even though they would never say it, it's a circle it. Going back to whether we like the Big Four Classic, this is why. It's a different UNI team. Seth Tuttle, so much of the offense ran through him. That point forward dynamic. Now you have the balance, but these are Iowa kid balance, and it's Jeremy Morgan, it's Matt Bohannon, and you have a transfer like Paul Jesperson. The one thing Burton will bring is a physicality that I could see giving UNI trouble because, frankly, you saw it against Louisville at the NCAA tournament in Seattle last year, and you also saw it a little against Colorado State in the opener. A physical team as good and tough-minded as UNI can be defensively, physical teams, they don't match up. When North Carolina took the court, you look body to body, you thought, UNI can hang with these guys. Louisville, you walked out and you thought, okay, this turns into a wrestling match or an MMA match, they might be in trouble. Burton's physicality, that'll be a dynamic to watch when he comes.
What do you think, Tommy? I mean, how much desire is there in Cyclone camp? I mean, not many of these guys are from Iowa. How much do they want this game?
Well, I think they want this game to prove that they can survive without Nazareth Meter long. I think a lot of people are wondering, can this team stay on that path of greatness that everybody expects for them? So I think they want to do that. I think they want to show that they can play a consistent full basketball game. That's something they haven't done so far this season, and this is going to be a big stage for them.
All right, so does UNI hang with Iowa State? What kind of chances do they have to actually beat Iowa State?
I think more than hang with them is can they beat them. I think you love the dynamic of Coach Ben Jacobson.
Yep.
He's just proven he's been there before. You also have the intangible. They're not afraid of anybody. I mean, this is a team and a program that expects to beat people. There's the emotion of it. I think you just got to not get in that streakiness. I think that's the thing. If Iowa State gets hitting and they get buried, if Iowa State gets up 15, that's not going to be a good day for the Panthers. On the other hand, as the Iowa State showed a couple years ago, Northern Iowa can get up 18 and that game ain't over. The Cyclones are good for about 3 or 4 times a year making some unbelievable rally. They did it at the Big Four Classic a couple years ago. As long as UNI hangs tight, that last 5 minutes could be awful entertaining.
Well, it should be an exciting weekend. Get there early because you won't want to miss Jared Uthoff's first halves. The last two games for Jared Uthoff for Iowa, 54 first half points combined, 5 in the second half. Big factor for the Hawkeyes. Tommy will be there. I'll be there. Andrew will be there. Randy Pete, he'll be watching from home with that broken leg repaired, but he'll be weighing in as well. We'll have all that coverage at DesMoinesRegister.com.